Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back. Back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Jonikola, and today we're checking out Fever Dreams by Ari Mason. What is this thing? Well, let's go to the website to find out. Fever Dreams is an extensive, singular, and deeply human vocal sample library for Contact Player. So there you go. Don't need the full version. Player is enough. So this is by Ari Mason, a producer and Grammy certified vocal soloist, and also viola da gamba player. That's as if there's not enough work to be great at one instrument. You got to take two. And viola da gamba, I'm actually not sure how difficult it is compared to like the sort of more modern, traditional orchestral string instruments. I would suspect, actually I'm not going to make any estimations about that. I suspect it's probably hard. So yeah, she's done stuff for film, television, and video games. Discover multi-tracked extended techniques, lush morphing textures, ethereal whispers, otherworldly chants. I always struggle to pronounce that. And other pitched, non-pitched, rhythmic, and non-rhythmic vocal instruments in a stunning collection showcasing the complexity of the human voice. So it seems, okay, obviously a vocal library, and seems like it's like a big toolkit of a bunch of different sort of stuff. So I'm getting the impression that you could sort of take this toolbox, this toolkit, and then apply it in a variety of different ways in a bunch of different genres. So I'm really interested in hearing what this actually sounds like, because these are descriptive things of what it includes in terms of a description, but in terms of the tone, the color, the vibe, all that stuff can be quite difficult to communicate just in text. So interested in seeing what that is like. Doesn't seem, I'm just looking if it has a price here immediately. I don't believe it does. So you do have to press this buy now button to find out. I'm guessing $150 it tells me. So apparently, right now that's the pricing. Didn't see anything else there. They have this kind of a trailer video on there, and then they have this fantastically done walkthrough video also with Stephanie. Let me get this surname right. Economo. I'm sorry, Stephanie, if I butchered that, but I'll get it right next time. So yeah, good videos, good content on that front, so you don't have to, get this completely blind. I love extensive walkthrough videos, in case you haven't noticed. Over 100 pitched, unpitched, rhythmic, and sustained patches. So these are divided into different categories. Calls of the Wild. Nice. We got some clicking, we got some interval stuff there, we have some Spring Break Woo. I'm really looking forward to where I'm going to use that. Whoops and Shouts Monkey. This is going to be interesting. Different monkeys. No actual monkeys were harmed in making this, I think. So, all right, next category, breaths and whispers. Different breathing patterns, human hi-hat. Strobe lights. What is that going to sound like? Whispers of love, A. And when whispers of love A is not enough, you could do whispers of love B. And then if that is not enough, then you can do whispers of love combo. Chants, Pseudo Konnakol. Did I get that right? And we have sustained and tremolo. All kinds of different things that are more, again, well, not again, these are descriptive in a way of what they sound like. So a bunch of different stuff. I love things that are out there on the fringes, you know, truly sort of, you know, unique boutique stuff. Because a lot of libraries, when these companies create these libraries, they don't have to, but they can take very sort of, what's the term that I'm looking for? Very specific contained approaches. So that, well, first of all, that it's easy for the customer to understand what they're looking at and what they're buying, but also packaging them in a nice way that are sort of self-contained. And with libraries like this, for example, and not saying this is not those things that I already mentioned as well, but I'm seeing a lot of like stuff that seems a bit more out there, which is really cool. It can really be like, I love libraries that can do a multitude of things, that they can bend to different genres, different styles, and you get a lot out of them that way. And obviously there's a time and place for a library that does one thing very specifically, but yeah, libraries that really do have this kind of like transformative nature, I guess, or transmutating. Let's go with that. Are really cool. So interested in seeing if this kind of fulfills that for me. Then we have some hums. Great. Then we have the walkthrough video. So 7.8 gigs contact library full of unique vocal samples. I would probably move that full further away from that contact thing, because people can glance at this really fast and read full contact. So there's a danger, believe me. People can read. They can make far worse assumptions based on far less. So I'd probably tweak that so it's not so close to that. And I would add contact player library there. Obviously, it's the next thing they literally say, but hey, trust me, people are pretty creative readers. Okay, so 7.8 gigs. So this isn't like, I probably expected something in that ballpark, but that's surprisingly big for what we're looking at here. Not saying that's too big of a footprint, but that kind of bodes well, I would say. It means that this is probably a bit more comprehensive than, or larger, I would say, than I expected. So rhythmic patches tempo sync with your DAW. Great. 2 recorded velocities. Okay, interesting. So that's 2 velocity approach. Not sure how that's gonna translate to kind of utility there. It depends so much on how they are actually balanced with one another. I would expect this means that there's like a quiet style, rather than, like, I would probably not think of it as velocity, but more like texture difference. So like a louder and a quieter one. I don't know. We'll see. Patches are triple tracked. I don't know what that means. Does it mean like you have different versions of the same loop, the same kind of sample concept, but tracked in 3 different, slightly different ways? I don't know. Works with the full version of Contact 6.8.0 and above. So that's what you need to have. Editable in the full version of Contact. That's interesting to include that. As I mentioned, gorgeous and intuitively crafted GUI design. Cool. Synthetic legato and key switch patches available for Chants. Interesting. Okay, so that must be like a, not like a sampled legato, but probably like a Contact magic thingy-majingy legato. Cross-grade offered to Contact full version available after purchase. How does that work? I don't know. Anywho, then you have different composers using Fever Dreams. So Stephanie Economo, I don't know why I changed the pronunciation there. Economo, let's go with the American. Economo, Stephanie Economo, and John Monroe. Sarah Barone, Stephanie Konnakol again. Oh, okay. So I see. I thought these were like testimony videos of them saying this is really fucking good. Then we have a track. So these are tracks. Yes. Sean Segal, Trey Toy. Why am I struggling with these names? Phil Busher. I barely know her. I don't know how to pronounce that either. I'm sorry, Phil. Let me know. Here we go. Testimonials. So again, Stephanie Konnakol from. I don't know if you're from America, so I don't know. I would presume. So yeah, Stephanie says good stuff. I'm presuming all of this is good stuff. I mean, it would be pretty ballsy to put bad stuff on your site. Worst sample library ever, and that's big balls move. Sarah Barone says good stuff. Jacob Shea says good stuff, and then Tyler Strickland says good stuff. Cool, interesting. Let's get into it. I'm gonna take us back to the contact view. I'm gonna close my Chrome so it doesn't eat up my RAM, even though I have a hefty amount of it. All right, I'm gonna take myself to my DAW. Right off the bat, looking at how this looks visually, I actually like this this interface. Loving the backing graphics, like this, what do you call this? Compilation of different stuff there. I like it. Looks really, really cool. And there's an owl there, so that's a big plus for me. Also, what the heck is that animal there on the right? There's a bunny, and left to the bunny, it kind of looks like a monkey that has a robe on. What's happening there? I can't make it. Yeah, maybe I would test if I would make it slightly darker so it doesn't push forward as much. I love the way it looks, but I would basically try and turn it a bit darker, maybe, so that it doesn't catch your eye as much, as beautiful as it is. Might be something that you sort of in the long term, as you use this more, that might bother you. I don't know if that's going to make it better, just a thought. But yeah, I love this green interface as well. Beautiful kind of forest green. Green is my favorite color, so you know, it is what it is. But yeah, beautiful forest green. Very nice look overall here. In terms of the presets, so yeah, we should probably touch on what we're going to do today. I'm just going to try and play as much of this as possible, sort of right out of the box, essentially showcase these presets, or different, I don't know if that's how you should call them, because they are more sort of, I guess, individual patches, but we'll go with presets. We'll play as many of these as possible. Obviously, this is kind of like a two-layer approach, A and B sources, which you can then blend between with that mid control. So I'm not sure, I'm guessing each of these would give you a different pairing of different sounds. But yeah, we're going to try and play as much of this as possible. Then if I feel like I want to intuitively tweak something, then I'll go in there. But otherwise, I'm just going to try and demonstrate to you how this sounds like right out of the box, and then go through some minor tweaking when I feel inspired to do so. In terms of what you'll be hearing today, it's only Fever Dreams in action. I don't add anything on top of it. No EQ, no reverb, no nothing. I only have a limiter on my master bus to make the level sort of more consistent for this video. That being said, it's set to be as transparent as possible, doing as little as possible. Simply helping with the audio levels being consistent with my voice level as well. In terms of transparency, Ari did send me this library, so first of all, thank you for doing so. That being said, all opinions are my own, both in good and bad. I haven't been asked to say anything one way or the other, nor would I ever do so. I will also say that I like this name, Fever Dreams. I'm not sure how that maps to how this sounds or feels like as a library, but I like the name. Anything else we want to touch on here? I don't think so. I think that wraps up everything we want to touch on here. I will probably be pretty rapid in the way that I'm going through this, just because seems to be a fair bit of stuff in here. So I will only sort of linger on a preset or a patch if I, in that moment, feel inspired to do something with it. Again, that's not like a complete statement of whether I think it's good or not, but rather if anything comes to mind right now. As we know, inspiration changes on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. So something I find inspiring now is going to be different tomorrow and vice versa. So there you go. But seems like if we choose one of these here, it's going to basically, yeah, it looks like it's going to just engage one single source. So these don't seem to be presets in the sense that they combine source A to source B. By default, it obviously, let's see if there is a default patch here. I mean, there was, but no longer, no more. But I think this is probably the approach I would take regardless. But let's start playing through these, and we'll go from there. I think this is really cool stuff. I mean, this is like a sound that I've never heard a library do. This is obviously sound that all of us have probably done at some point in our lives, but this is like really quirky, interesting stuff. I love it. This has a very interesting, like, layering happening here. I wonder now that we have only source A engaged and we have the blend in the middle, is the level going to increase as I bring this to the left? No. So it is. So by default, if it's here, yeah, that would make sense. Let's see if we change this, does it? Yeah, it resets. When you play this kind of stuff, I start to feel winded, even if I'm not doing that myself. I love these types of rhythmic, airy, percussive things. We've reviewed a bunch of like libraries in a sort of folk style that do some of these vocals in this kind of a way. These tend to be kind of common for, you know, if you've listened to any of the sort of more recent modern, like Viking style stuff, they are integrated there because those have been actually, to my understanding, used in that context. Actually, maybe. Anyway, really cool stuff. Yeah, good selection of different patterns. There's a nice sense of playfulness there, and it's also like they are interestingly creative patterns. They're not just like your usual meat and potatoes, although you have that as well, which is great. But I love it. There's a good sense of variety here, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Really good texture there. It's clearly sort of tilted towards a sort of more cymbal hi-hat type of a thing. Yeah, very, very nice. That can be great when you're trying to sort of hybridize the human voice with something like a sense of a hi-hat or cymbal of some sort. Like there, that's a nice rhythm there, which is a bit, I wouldn't say unconventional, but, wouldn't be like a number one typical thing to go for. That one as well. Nice patterns there. Okay, we've got a lot of different breathing patterns. Yeah, really, really liking this. So by the way, I'm in 124 BPM. If I drop this down, do they map to that? Yes, they do. And they do so really nicely, actually. There's nothing weird happening there sonically. Really liking this because they sound natural, but they're refined and polished enough to be ready for like a productional environment. I don't have to do a bunch of stuff there. Basically just fit them to my mix and that's it. But especially with a lot of vocal stuff, I start to dislike them if they get too harsh. And too much stuff in the kind of 1K to even 6, 8. That range gets too much when you begin to compress things in less than ideal ways. So this is kept very nicely open and raw, but it's ready for showtime as well. So this is a Brrower. Let me bring down a bit this level because we're stacking voices here. Really cool. I like this. Again, what I love about this that I'm hearing is that it's playful. It's not like, it's not afraid to go to that quirky place. And with this, this is really great control over their vocal technique and performance, because you got really interesting, you can hear the sort of the expansion of the cavity basically back in the mouth, and then that brings that sort of honky mid. That's not a negative here. That's just like a tone definition here. And how they do that loose R there in the back of the mouth. I'm not even going to try and replicate that because I'm just going to embarrass myself here. But really, really cool really cool stuff. And I will say, even though that's like very, like, it sounds like it's very sort of simply behaving contact. There's not like fancy, complicated scripting going on. At least I don't think. It plays really nicely and naturally, and that's usually a mark of really, really well done sampling and testing how to pair things together. So this one is called Chant 1 Key Switch Legato.
Chara tu mi la ka milji ku hu tu ro buru ko ye. Chara tu mi la ka milji ku hu tu ro buru ko ye. Chara tu mi la ka milji ku hu tu ro buru ko ye. Chara tu mi la ka milji ku hu tu ro buru koye. Chara tu mi la ka milji. Chara tu mi la ka milji. Chara tu mi la ka milji ku hu tu ro buru koye. Chara tu mi la ka milji ku hu tu ro buru koye. Chara tu mi la ka milji ku hu tu ro buru koye.
I'm gonna do it. That's really good. There's a lot of good things about that. I mean, first of all, this pattern, this collection of vowels. I don't know if this is modeling something.
Chara tu mi la ka milji. Chara tu mi la.
It sounds like something that reminds me of something, but I don't know. Super interesting pattern. The way that plays is super nice. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting this to be that refined, sort of technically, because this is super smooth to play, and it, obviously, as you change notes, it continues the phrase in the different note. Super cool. Wasn't expecting that. The tone here is super fascinating because you get this sort of synthetic, robotic quality sort of in the back, but obviously it's very also raw and upfront and organic. Also that, maybe this is the triple tracking that they talk about, maybe not, but basically we have different takes, different layers here. Got something on the left here, something here. At first, the imaging is really good here as well. Beautiful stereo image, beautiful sense of separation and space. The textures of those different takes also play together super nicely. So, I mean, this is thoroughly impressive. Also, lastly, I want to touch on the mix of that. The way this sits is beautifully done because it's sort of soft and sultry and silky, but also with a bit of grit on top, which really pairs nicely with the organic quality of this. So it sits just in a perfectly beautiful place. So I want to have a look at this key switch legato here. Okay, so you got different patterns here apparently. So the behavior changes a bit when I stack more voices here. such a good. And what's really great here is it's actually interesting, whatever the text is here, whatever the language, whatever the phonetically what's going on here, it's really, really pleasant to me. So yeah, we have different, basically key switches do different patterns here, it seems. Yeah, we got seven? Looks like 7. I don't know why it's sort of... Yeah, the key, yeah, okay, so it updates a bit differently based on where my mouse is, but... So obviously some of these sound like they need to be a lot slower to me. Like that's... Well, okay, that's different because that's a triplet there. That's such an interesting texture, such an interesting sound. That's a beautifully put together one. That's just really, really, really good. Okay, so that was the legato. So I'm guessing this is this non-legato version. So if you don't want it to continue on as you play, then you take that one. Chant 1, pattern 1, legato. So is this one... Okay, key switch. Okay, so this is just the patterns alone. Yep, we have got 7 of those. So we're not gonna look at all of them because we played a few of them. Yeah, I think that's a good inclusion actually, because then you don't have to load stuff if you don't want to use it. Those are, yeah, that was really, really cool stuff. So this is Chant 1 Whispers. Yeah, so again, really, you can tell that this is very sort of maturely done, and this is from a coming from a place of a genuinely creative mind, because these are sensible yet interesting variations of one another. Let's play all of them so you know what I mean. Yeah, brilliant stuff. That's just like coming from a interesting creative musical place in terms of how to introduce variety there. Excellent stuff. So that was Chant 1 Whispers. Chant 2 Key Switch Legato. Okay, so we have another one all together. So again, this would include different patterns, which we have 7 of. So I'm super happy because I was really digging the first one. I'm trying not to be too sloppy with my playing, so you get the continuation of the phrase.
jamari me ka desu tamira muru pollo no.
Yeah, so you have to be accurate enough for the timing. Obviously, you can then go into the MIDI editor and fix your timing, because sometimes with these they can interpret even if I think, oh, that was perfectly within reasonable time, yeah, they can have different interpretations of that, because I would never make a mistake, as we all know. Let's do a different pattern here. Yeah, so I'm gonna change the tempo kind of based on what I'm feeling, so I'll go to 90 here.
Kadesu tamira mura ime kuli heji pana ye mugil sadil me chadi suram kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana ye mugil sadil me chadi suram kadesu tamira mari me kuli heji pana ye mugil sadil me chadi suram kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana.
Yeah, I mean, when you hit the legato as a player, it flows so nicely. That is really, really well done. Let's go to another pattern here.
Kadisata mira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana ye mugil Kadisata mira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana ye Kadisata mira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana ye Kadisata mira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana ye Kadisata mira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana ye Kadisata mira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana ye Kadisata.
It's stupid good. Yeah, really, really, such a good feeling when you play and it just continues the phrase and it flows so nicely.
Kadesu tamira marura murutu shamari nakari hejipana Kadesu tamira marura murutu shamari nakari hejipana Kadesu tamira marura murutu shamari Kadesu tamira marura murutu shamari nakari hejipana Kadesu tamira marura murutu shamari tamira muru pollo na yemu Kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana yemu Kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari Kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana yemu Kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana yemu Kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana yemu Kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana yemu Kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana yemu Kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari me kuli heji pana yemu Kadesu tamira muru pollo nutu shamari.
That, yeah, really good. Yeah, getting into, like, how do you know a library is good? Because you start writing actual music with it. So, cool. We don't have to go through all the chants because we went through most of the patterns there. Let's do chant to whispers. Yeah, and the texture is super consistent. Like, yeah, this is really, really, really nicely balanced. Okay, goddamn, we got a chant 3. Okay, I'm being spoiled here a bit. It's got a lot more of the good stuff that Marky Mark likes. Let's pull back the level here a bit. I'm actually gonna bump up the BPM. Feels like I'll get a better feel for the right BPM that way. Yeah, beautiful. I mean, when you start stacking those voices, that's when you can hear that this is really well put together, because this kind of an approach can easily, once you begin to stack the voices, the library begins to sound worse and worse and worse, because the voices aren't really sort of paired together to do more sort of dense chordal stuff. And but this just like it breathes more life into it. It's like becomes more of the good stuff. That's how you know this is really, really nicely balanced. So for that, let's bring down the tempo. Ah, it's so good when it hits that perfect legato. So sometimes, like when it starts that phrase, it does like this kind of more like polyrhythmic thing, and it doesn't sync. I'm not sure why that's happening. If that's just the beginning of the phrase, that it's always going to do that. Yeah, I think it's just the beginning of that. Just is that way. Yeah. Freaking cool. Let's do chant 3 whispers. That whisper is so well done because it has that kind of boxiness in the sort of low mids, probably. This has that brunt, has that body, has that weight. It sounds like there's like a box there. So yeah, really, really good because you can bring some like heft and weight into that. Okay, let's go into clicking rhythms. That one is boggling my mind a bit in terms of what is actually being done there. It sounds like something like non-human voice stuff. That one as well. Sounds like there's some kind of like a reverse effect going there, maybe some kind of granular thing or just like a reverse delay thing. You get that kind of whoop whoop in there between. We're gonna try something here. Anyway, yeah, really cool. What I like about these is, again, these would be super cool when you're trying to build something hybridized. You want to build like a synthetic soundscape, but you want to have a human voice element there. These ones are really good because there is a kind of a robotic quality to many of these already. So they would really, really hybridize really, really nicely. I also love the texture because it sounds a bit moist for understandable reasons. The human mouth is a very moist place. That should be like an Attenborough thing. The human mouth is a very moist place. I don't do a good Attenborough, as you can hear, but you know, get the idea of it. But yeah, I love the texture because it's interesting. Very interesting to listen to, and also again, these are a nice balance of realism and rawness. But again, if somebody does like, I'm sorry about that, but that can sound really unpleasant to the ear, and sort of in some people like myself, they could be a bit like that, could be a bit torturous even. So nicely balanced that you can hear the texture and the moistness, but it's still very pleasant and you know, good sounding. Let's go into Conehead. Again, I love that this is quirky, and this could easily sound quite shitty. But this, it's first of all, the performances are really precise and beautiful. I feel like it's having like fun, and also that nasaliness there is really, really tastefully done there. But yeah, I love that it's quirky because you can really do some like provocative, interesting stuff with that in places.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
You can also like, I love that this is responsive enough that you can do those kind of things like shorts. Obviously that sounds like a sample snippet thing, but that's, you know, a style of its own. So you can do many things with that. I would love to have that legato thing on, maybe not like this kind of this is more like a motion type of a thing, but I don't know, maybe still. Would be interesting to know how much of that is pure vocal technique and how, if there is like a flickering tremolo-ish sort of an effect there. Yeah, it's just like I personally want to do like weird sort of more sampled stuff with that. Obviously, you can also use those as sort of sustained type of things as well. I wonder if these are these tempo dependent? Doesn't sound like they are, which makes sense. You could do some kind of mellotron-ish type of stuff with that. Alright, going into hum major second. That was the limiter clipping. Let's pull the level back here. Really cool. And these, I'm kind of surprised that these work really well in that kind of sort of maybe a bit more modern vocal sampling style that has been going on for quite a few years. And also in a sort of kind of like more hip hop sense as well. These really lend themselves well to that as well. Then you have hum minor second. So yeah, those can be cool in many different contexts. Humba. Beautiful stereo image there, or spread, separation. That plays beautifully as well. I don't know if that deploys any of the legato stuff. I don't think so, maybe, but still, like that flow there, that continuation is really good. That tiny clip there was the limiter. Yeah, that again, that plays beautifully, flows beautifully as well. Yeah, it's striking a beautiful balance between the kind of the sampling of the voice and also making it flowy, but giving you this idea that it still is sampling. That again, that plays beautifully, flows beautifully. I really love the texture here. You get the airiness of that, you know, the air being produced there, but then this beautiful sort of mid body in that voice. Again, it's sort of like super soft and sultry, and then you have this good bit of power on top of it, like just to have that forward energy, and then that top air. Just it's a beautifully balanced thing. Yeah, and also the tiny details there when the vowels change to that consonant. It's like beautiful control over that tiny transient textural detail there. So far, I've completely neglected this control. I knew it was here, believe it or not. Intensity, but this is like the first time, because we're dealing with so far like already so refined creative ideas that I don't immediately think, oh, I want to actually adjust that. But when I'm thinking about a hum, I'm obviously thinking about this intensity here. Again, okay, yeah, let's play this. Beautiful. I will be honest, I'm really impressed how this has been done from like the tech point of view as well. The technology here, the scripting, the contact part of putting all this together. I was not because like I knew absolutely nothing about, you know, the background of this. I mean, yeah, I realized that I've obviously heard Ari's singing in some of the stuff that she's been doing, but I thought like, hey, this is the first release, like maybe a bit rough around the edges, which would be completely fair to assume and from completely, you know, reasonable. But this is like really, really well put together, also from like a technology standpoint, and also even beyond that most importantly, that there's this musical sensibility and also understanding of what these things actually sound like, so you can sample the right things and then put them technologically together in the right form. But here, for example, the sense for the textures, for the tones, is just really, really, really good stuff. And I love here that it has a bit of like, I used to have this, I actually still have it, TC Helicon, whatever the hell you call that, this big, well, it was probably that size, unit. And you could do, I love that you could do, basically, so it's not like a vocoder, because vocoding is very different sounding, but it could basically like synthetically harmonize things, and that has its own sound. And you probably heard this on like the Imogen Heap track, what's it called? Hide and Seek, probably most sort of famously used in that. I love that sound, and I use it on my own stuff as well. And actually these days you can do it with the Antares Harmony Engine. Sounds really good. This reminds me of that texture. I love that texture. I love that sound. So I'm really, really pleased that this does a similar thing. I mean, this sounds so good. That slide, how it opens up the valve, like you can hear the airflow there. It's super visceral. Again, how the air flows there in the beginning, you get this kind of beautiful release of it, and then how it's sort of imaged and placed in here creates a kind of separation and sparseness, and a beautiful, like, it sits so well there. That's a really, really good one. Human hi-hat. Let's bring up the tempo, because that's a bit slow. Let me double check that it actually... Yeah, it does respond to that. This is really cool to have. Very simple idea, but very rarely actually sampled. Obviously, you could do this yourself, but it's not going to be as good probably as a professional vocalist. I don't know what your personal hi-hat beatboxing skills are, but that's a really, really cool thing to have. Again, for that kind of, you know, hybridizing thing, for example, when you want to bring a bit of something human but percussive in there. This is called Martian. Yeah, again, another quirky, super interesting texture. Could be the missing piece of your weird-ass track. This is the good stuff. This is good shit. Let's bring up the level just a bit more. That's good shit. I perhaps myself do sometimes sing in that meow voice, but today's not the day to demonstrate that, or you have to demonstrate the monkey now. That's actually a super interesting sound, like no kidding. Obviously, I would probably kind of blend that in with like some percussion, like for example, if I was doing that kind of like something with like more Nordic folkish percussive things, you could kind of blend that in there without making the monkey part of it so apparent. I mean, that's still cool, but like that's a really interesting sound, like a really interesting thing. Let's do monkey 2. Yeah, that sounds really interesting to me. I was not expecting to like the monkey. I obviously the range for understandable reasons is pretty limited, so I would really like to have a bit more playground there. And these voices pair so well together. Again, it's like more common for sampling voices to kind of like things begin to sound shittier the more you put them together. But this just like it gets more power. It becomes, you know, thicker in a good way, and it's really well done. And here I like that it doesn't legato them together, so I can shift the starting point, so I can create those kind of polyrhythms here. Yeah, so you can do all kinds of weird things. I'm really stunned. I mean, voice is great, tracking is great, but it's just like it plays like superbly. Yeah, it just sounds so thick and powerful. And then the imaging, the parts go to the sides there. That's just so really well put together. Only thing is, I wish it has a bit more range, but it's, you know, I guess I can't think of a reason why they couldn't expand on that. I'm trying to think about singing here. I don't know. I think they could. Like, that's quirky and interesting enough that you could actually build a track on that. That's just... And it sounds so good. You could just do like a weird theme. Yeah, these are really nicely EQ'd, and also the imaging is just stupidly good. Yeah, good stuff. A lot of monkeys. This one is Mother Earth Calls. It's very loud. Mother Earth is very loud. Let's pull that back. Let's pull it back even more. Gets pretty loud. This is the first time. So I really like really dry and upfront sounds. But this, for something like this, I'm just gonna max the shit out of that reverb and see what happens here. So that makes it a lot quieter. Gonna bring this up. Interesting reverb, kind of soft and sort of I don't know how to describe it. Soft and hazy, almost there. So interesting. Obviously you can use your own as well, but there you go. Very cool. Ooh ah. Ooh ah.
Wow 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow,
yeah, so a lot of scope in that intensity. It changes texture a lot. So this is even more, I mean, we've used that very little so far. So this is even more kind of versatile than I've even realized so far. all that airiness, all that haziness. Really, really beautiful. Outer space. Overtone ensemble. I love this. Ping. Just waiting for it to say penguin. Yeah, really good stuff. Again, going in that percussive vocal area that we talked about previously. Again, just beautiful. It sounds so clear, organic, but it has that body and that power and that texture and those slight different placements here in the stereo field. It just makes it chugs so nicely together when you unify them. Like there's like a visceral, I feel that flow there. Superb. And obviously, yeah, as we did, you can play with the to create interesting patterns there. Really, really good stuff. Then you have that in a major third. All right, going into Spring Break Woo. I have no idea what to expect, but here we go. That last one. Is that what it sounds like going to spring break? Is that what it is? I was expecting like a woo, something like that, but with more heart and volume and dedication, unlike what I just did. Cool. Going into spring break Woo B. So now I know never to go on spring break in the US, if it sounds like that. Sounds super chaotic. Strobe lights. So I expected those to have like more like stuttering, like clear sort of tremolo drop out. It sounds more like just like a ch kind of a thing. Vowel A. Or rather ah. That is the limiter crapping the heck out. Pretty powerful top end here. So we got E. So yeah, I would probably mostly use those for like the kind of sustained, you know, waves like that. That with a reverb, it's going to sound great. Yeah, super quirky. Yeah, I'm just really impressed how well those voices stack and how full and cohesive they sound together. It's not easy to pull off, so I'm just really impressed that like it sounds great on its own when you do like single or you know, duo voicing, but then you just stack more and it just becomes bigger and more powerful. All right, next up, Whispers of Love. I hope no one is listening to this outside the door. And also, if you're listening to this and somebody just walked in, I'm sorry. Okay. Not suitable for advertising. That one sounds very... they sound very pleased. That's slightly surprised. Okay, I was not expecting that. I thought it was a different sort of love that I was expecting. Okay, let's go to love B. It's just like Saturday evening. Steady effort. You know, a bit of pain mixed with love. So that one sounds like a very specific thing, which I shall not go into as a gentleman. That's definitely a first for me in a library. That's very expressive. Yeah, good combination. Oh, reminds me of Matthew McConaughey in Wolf of Wall Street. The sound he makes at the table when he's taking cocaine and doing the song. I wonder what the sampling session was like for these ones. So I'm guessing these combo A and B into one single thing. Then going into whoops and shouts. That clipping was the limiter. Let me get that level done right. That's very loud. Yeah, these ones seem a lot louder than anything else here. Wum-bo. Yo, wizard Wum-bo. Poor Wum-bo. Wum-bo sounds like a name you want to give to your pet. Oh, little Wum-bo. Yoko. Nice. Yeah, the textures are really, really good. Okay, then we go into something in this preset snapshot selection area. These are underscore. Okay, so these seem to be the combined sounds. So these combine two things, source A into source B, and then there's a balance. So these would be kind of like what you would typically call like a preset. So far we've only listened to single elements at a time. So we'll play these through as well. Yeah, and these ones also have some preset stuff like reverb done. So I'm guessing all of these kind of just combine the things that we went through individually, I think. Yeah. Again, the spread of everything is really, really good. Yeah, the monkeys are really good. Did not expect that. Limiter? right, I think we did it. We went through everything here. So, to wrap this up, summarize this. First of all, I was extremely positively surprised. I mean, I heard some of this in some of the walkthrough, just enough so I could get my bearings on this in terms of what this is and what's in there, etc. I didn't want to listen to too much, so I could experience it for myself and also share with you my authentic reaction to this. But super impressed by this. It's, first of all, obviously a beautiful voice, excellent, not only excellent in terms of the performances and the technique, but a voice that sounds musically engaging and sounds creative, and things come through like emotions and intent, and like a lot of these sounds are very quirky in many ways, and I like that emotionally comes through, not just in terms of having a funny vowel consonant combination, but actually you can hear the spirit of it come through. So and I'm really pleasantly surprised to hear that. I can't say surprised because I didn't know what to expect in terms of the voice specifically, but it makes this a deeply kind of personalized and soulful library. Like, it has its own tone and its own sort of intent. And like I said, when we started this off in the beginning, they describe really well what's in there, but in terms of what this feels like and what the sort of the vibe of it is going to be was unclear. So now it's quite clear to me. So yeah, voice beautiful. Obviously sounds like it's tracked really, really well. And also, produced and mixed and treated really, really well, because it sounds very natural and raw and open. It sounds like the actual voice, but it's polished so that you can just insert it in different places and it's going to sound, ready to go. It's ready for showtime. You don't actually have like a super raw sounding vocal that you need to work to make it work on that front. Also, I did not expect a ton of like technical sophistication, simply based on the fact that, I would presume this is their first, Ari's first sample library. So from that perspective, I was, ready to look at it from a sort of more lenient perspective, because, I wouldn't expect someone to, do something at this high of a technical level on their first try. Obviously I don't know who made the let's see if the information, I don't know if they had someone do the technical side of it separately, or if they did that themselves. But yeah, I expected this to be sort of more bare bones, simpler, but like the legato stuff, and legato in this case means that as I'm changing the note, there's a phrase running. They're singing like a phrase of a, say, a sentence or a combination of sentences, and as I change the note, it's actually continuing that sentence instead of re-triggering it over and over again. And not that's to be expected, I would say, today, but there's something about when you play this, it just flows really nicely. It plays really nicely. The flow of it is really, really, really good. So I was impressed by how, sophisticated and how good this is on that front as well. Imaging is stunning. I don't actually know. So they talk about like 3-layer tracking, and I'm guessing that means that they've done sort of 3 recordings per each thing that they're sort of sampling or creating, and then they're positioning those in different places. But the point is, imaging here is stunning. When you pair that really good imaging placement of these different voices with the textural capability that they have as a singer, you get this beautiful transient vocal response and that perfect texture, but then it's placed really nicely in the stereo image, and you have these slight differences in timing that creates a very, very immersive, really good, pleasant sounding soundscape, like a stereo field. So that's really good. Also, like I touched on before, with a lot of vocal libraries, as you begin to stack voices, a lot of vocal libraries tend to begin to sound worse and worse the more you stack them. Not with this. You start, I start carefully with one voice, two voices, then you add more harmony, and it just becomes alive more and more. So it's really impressive how they could make them sound so good on their own when you do a sort of more minimal harmony, or like, two voice thing. But then but as you stack more and more of it, it just becomes fuller and fuller. So it's really, really brilliantly performed, again, tracked, mixed, put together, has this beautiful balance of rawness and what's the word that I'm looking for? This kind of delicate nature, but then has that beautiful power there in the sort of bottom middle. Really good. And also the air quality of the voice is also super nice. So many of these, they just sound really, really, really sultry, silky, powerful, thick, and also due to the nature of the sampling as well, there's that synthetic element that comes in there, and it pairs really beautifully with everything else that's going on here. So I'm really impressed by it by how it comes across as one thing. This is not like it. I don't get a feeling like it's, how should I put this? All of the different aspects are coming together to form a unique, cohesive product with intent. It's all coming together. The voice, the musical sensibility, the technical side of it sort of culminates into one place. That's when you know it's a good instrument, because it's doing that. That's not going to happen by accident. It's not going to happen by chance. So I'm really impressed by that alone. In terms of some of my favorite things here, I mean, I love all the breathing pattern stuff. I always say this when I review vocal libraries that include kind of rhythmic elements. I love those kind of breathing, rhythm things and all that kind of percussive stuff that can be done with the human voice. I especially love it with female voices. It's just something that works different, like that aggressiveness in the female voice is just works differently there in the top end. Really, really liking those. I love that there are some really quirky, weird things in here. Like it just sounds to me like they were having fun with it, and they wanted to put those curveballs in there, which I really like and respect, because they give you utility that's really difficult to get otherwise. And because like a lot of companies are scared to put that stuff in there because maybe it's too weird and then people are going to run away. I personally love it. And also I love that they are creative bits and pieces, like creative toolkits that you can use. I don't know if I'm going to use like a weird vocal sound ever necessarily. Like, I don't mean in general, but like specifically a weird sound from here. But I might, and it might find a really weird place for it where it's like absolutely perfect. So I would just recommend like keeping an open mind with that, because you never know where those might serve you really, really well. But I love the quirkiness. It's really rare, and they're done really well as well. Yeah, these chants, the legato chants, probably like my favorite stuff in here. Just really, really good. You get like these 7 different patterns per chant, and you got 3 of those. That was probably my favorite thing here. And again, the legato, when you're playing, it feels so good and it flows so well and it sounds so great. It's just, again, all of these different aspects coming together super, super nicely. these ahs, e's, oo's, all these kind of different things. Well, not the erratic ones, but maybe the sort of the vowels here. I would probably more use them like in a pad-like fashion. Luckily, the intensity here, what I like about it, again, intensity is a part of it, but what because obviously it does get more intense the higher you go, but it's more like there are 3 distinct textural areas in here. So you've got the low end, which is like super soft, then you got this medium that's still usually airy, that has more power, and then you have no air and sort of full power in the top. So it's more like a textural tool. Yes, it's dynamics as well, but just keep in mind that you're going to have very distinctively different sounds in each area. So you might not want to use all of those textures and instead use volume to kind of create the immersion or impression of dynamics. Yeah, but the vowels were good, but I would probably use them in a sort of more like pad-like fashion of creating like a wave of the ahs or e's or oo's or whatever sort of coming and going. To me, that felt like where they were at their best. Then you got all kinds of like weird textures, like these erratic things, which I would probably mostly use in like if I was doing cinematic scoring and stuff and I needed some vocal texture there. So it's really useful to have those around in case you can throw them in there and use them. Also liked the slide with a vocal does like a major or minor. They are simple enough and subtle enough that you can use them quite flexibly, and also they can be pretty inspiring. Really like the hums, actually. They were super good. Then we had some more percussion in the form of a hi-hat. The monkey ones, I didn't know what to expect, but I actually really like them. I would love to see maybe even more of them. The volume is okay, but definitely the range, I would love to see that expanded. I don't know, it's probably a lot of work to do that, but I really like the monkeys. Really kind of visceral feel when it's coming out of the speakers. Great sense of rhythm, interesting textures, again, beautifully EQ'd and balanced. Really good stuff. I actually expect to probably use them on stuff. Not in the sort of typical monkey sense, but more sort of blended in there. Yeah, then there was that one really good pad. Oh, sorry, not like, I think it was one of those hums that I really loved. It was like a beautiful vocal pad type of a thing. Then we had Whispers of Love, and those were, again, like a niche thing. I have never heard that in a library, because I don't think nobody dares do that. But they were very, what's the word that I'm looking for? Convincing. And also, what's the word that I'm looking for? Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for sounds of love, look no further. These definitely were getting the point across, let's put it that way. But yeah, like in seriousness, seriously speaking, really well done. And that actually might be like a thing that you actually want to use. Let's say you have I'm not talking about like scoring for adult films, but I mean, like, you could have a movie scoring a scene, and maybe you don't actually use any of the audio from the scene, but it's actually driven by music. You could use these kind of things to kind of weave in some of those elements sort of musically, and you could use this in, you know, electronic, hip-hop, whatever, pop, do some cool stuff with that. That is stimulating in the sense of creating an impression of something love related. Yeah, cool. Then these presets that sort of pre-combine all of these individual thingy-majingies. Let me actually, I just want to check that. Do these have more content than what we already looked at? Because you can obviously, no, I think this is yeah, the same stuff. So yeah, you can obviously go into these selectors and choose whatever you want to have in each of these A, B slots. Look at that green texture. I really like that color. It's one of my favorites. Really calming to the eye. Very, very like Finnish forest type of stuff. Yeah, these sort of more presets where these two sounds are combined. I personally see less utility here. I would love to see sort of more creativity here. I would love to see sort of more, maybe creativity is not the right word. I'm sort of thinking that I would love to see something maybe automate this blend here. Something that could create a bit of movement between the two. So you could have sort of more, modulating, changing, shifting sounds. So that's probably something that I would look at if I were to sort of think about the next horizon for this library, if they wanted to take it somewhere in that regard. Because these source samples, these source sounds are really, really tremendous. And this, so far, this is how I would be using them. Taking something from here individually and then just doing it in my DAW. But I mean, this engine is pretty simple otherwise. We have volume, attack, release, key map shift, by the way, which is really, really good because you can shift things into better locations. But this should be a feature in every single library. But yeah, I would, because the samples are so good, I think they could add some features to this engine in terms of like a macro sequencer thing that would, for example, you could move a bunch of parameters with that, but for example, somehow automate this voice blend here. Obviously, I can automate it in the DAW as well, but if there are great presets built in here that would already do it by a sound designer far better than myself, that would be amazing. So not to say, I mean, these sounded good, but in terms of bringing kind of an additional capability here that I myself could not do just using these individual sounds on their own with some plugin magic trickery, I don't feel like they sort of inspired me beyond the individual sounds. I would prefer to use the individual sounds. So maybe that's something they could look at to kind of bring this engine, bring some automation, bring some modulation, bring some motion and movement and momentum there. I think that would be like probably the first obvious thing that I would be looking at if I had to, develop this further. But all in all, super impressed. Really great stuff. So really glad this came my way. Thank you, Ari. It's been a pleasure. Great work on this one. If you happen to have this at home or at your studio, let me know what you think. And as always, let me know what you think of this video as well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.